interesting episode today. Right? I won't. I will not. Everything becomes very bright. And it's like,
thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Melanated Married Millionaires in the Making show. King, where can I go to stay connected with us?
Y'all can stay tapped into the show at them4show.com. That's them4show.com. And you can follow us on Instagram at them4show.
Now, let's get into the episode.
But we appreciate y'all for tapping in. We got an interesting episode today, right? So one of the entrepreneurs that I definitely look up to, one of the, I think, prolific rappers I definitely look up to, is Nipsey Hussle. In Nipsey Hussle form, I actually ran a half marathon.
Because you're crazy.
In real life. Yeah, I'm crazy in real life. And I think there were some very key lessons from my experience in running the actual half marathon, not full. Don't know if I'm ever going to get to a full, to be honest with you, Nip. But some lessons from the half marathon are, in my mind, directly applicable to entrepreneurship. So, Queen, what I would like to do, if you would allow me, is go through some of these lessons, some of these things, random thoughts that were going through my mind as I was struggling.
Hours of running.
In my 3.2 hours of running, 13.1 miles. Let's go through it.
Sounds good.
Can we do that?
I'm very curious.
All right. So number one was just the concept of training and conditioning. And,
and lack thereof.
Lack thereof, mostly on my part. But it's interesting. Everybody, I think, went there for a very particular goal, particular purpose. They were there to complete a half marathon. There were some people where it was their first half marathon they ever ran. Hello, present. There are other people who've done this annually, biannually. They've been training for years, training for months for this exact moment. And at the start, you can't tell who's been training and who hasn't been training. Or I'm going to ask Sinclair how it connects with entrepreneurship. But I think a lot of people want $1 million business. A lot of people want $100 million business. A lot of people want employees or to finish a half marathon in a certain amount of time. But not everybody is training and conditioning their body and their mind the same, right? So how does that in your head connect to entrepreneurship or into the world of business, period?
I feel like it directly connects, and still with the idea of training your body and your mind. I feel like there is such a strong link between like overall wellness, health and wellness, and entrepreneurship.
For sure.
And I feel like we see so many entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, and they have like strict regimens. They eat healthy, they exercise, like they do all these things and they're successful. I feel like it's not impossible, but rare to see somebody who looks like they a mess and they ain't got their stuff together, but somehow they have a successful business. Right. Yeah. You don't really see that. So I feel like they go hand in hand. And
there's a quote. I don't know who says this, not to cut your wisdom, Queen. I don't know who says this, but the quote is like, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah.
Right. So the fact that one person can be very diligent. What's
diligent?
the word? Diligent. That's why I keep you around, girl. You good with them words. Come on now.
Call me Miriam.
I won't. I will not. But for those that are very diligent in the gym and what they eat, they're probably gonna have that same work ethic with their emails, with their follow-up with customers, with their follow-up on leads, and with everything else in life. So yeah, I like that connection you made, Queen.
Yeah. So I feel like if people aren't preparing to, be taking care of their own body, and they're just thinking like, I'm just going to stay up every day and grind and not sleep, and like, that's not going to end up well for you. You may get some initial like wave, but that's not a marathon mindset. That is a sprint mindset. You may get to the short, that first mile first, but then people are going to start passing you because they're sleeping their 8 hours, right? They're getting up, they're doing their morning routine, they're eating right, they're doing all these things. So I think it like directly connects.
To that point, they were running their race, I was running my race, and I think if I would have tried to speed up and catch up with them, I would have stopped running much sooner. I would have ran out of gas much sooner. And I think it's the same thing with entrepreneurship. You're seeing all these people on Instagram, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on YouTube, and they may seem like they're having success, but you don't know how far back they started.
Right.
You don't know what pace they've been running in, and you're comparing your race, you're comparing your entrepreneurship journey to their reality right now.
Yeah. 3.
Don't take shortcuts. Number 3. So
You thought about it.
I did. So this was probably mile 5. In my head, it was mile 8 because the way that my legs were feeling, I thought I was almost there.
You got like a
But
gut punch.
it was so bad because literally, like, after this moment that I'm about to explain, a few, like, maybe minutes later, I saw mile 6. I was like, that's it. I'm not even halfway. I'm not gonna make it, bro. But I'm running, and you get to this point where it's a maze, right? You're running along this trail, and a lot of times when you're going this way, you can see the other people that are ahead of you on the other side, right? And there might be a freeway that's blocking you. There might be some cones that's blocking you. There might be a beach that's between you. But in this particular stretch, Sinclair, all there was between people running this way and people running this way were cones. And not even like a bunch of cones to where it's just like a cone every like 10 feet. So I'm running and I'm like, nobody would know.
Except you.
Nobody would know if I do a quick little spin move and skip this half mile, 0.7 miles. I had no idea how long the loop was. But like you said, I would know. Right. So the key there was in the half marathon, and then Sinclair, I want you to talk about maybe some shortcuts in business, but you can't take the shortcuts. You may get to the finish line faster, but there's a muscle that you build when you run the full 13 miles that you don't build if you just ran the 12 or the 11 or the 10. I feel like in entrepreneurship, there's a muscle from going from $0 to $1 million that you just build in practice that you might not build if you go from 0 to $1 million. But I'm trying to think of a shortcut that would help you get there. But you got $500,000 loan from your parents, right? It's like, yes, congrats, you got that. But what are you missing out because your parents just gave you $500,000 versus your parents investing $500,000 versus you getting a loan for $500,000? You have to pay it back, right? There's some other ways where you can still build that muscle without getting a gift of $500,000 from the get-go. But Queen, from your vantage point, shortcuts in business, talk to us.
So I had 2 that came up while you were talking. The first one was, and this is not to say that this is not something that works and that not something that you should try if that's what you want to do. And we did try it. It didn't work. Kickstarter. Right. To some people can be seen as a shortcut, right? You put your product out there, and although people are paying for it, it's like a way to get a lot of money relatively quickly, right? I feel like for us, we were seeing that as a start, right? How does this? That was our product launch. Let me back up. For those of you who don't know, haven't heard the Kickstarter story, we created the game. We had our prototypes. We had our first editions ready to launch. And so we decided to do a Kickstarter because a lot of board games go on Kickstarter and do really successful. And Kickstarter is a platform where you can put the idea for your game. You can make a video. You can put the product out there and have even tiers for different ways for people to support.
All right. Number 4. Hopefully y'all are enjoying this so far. If you are, make sure y'all go ahead and give us a like if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening on any podcast platform, Apple Podcasts, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, FM radio, if this is 100 years in the future and now podcasts are over the FM radio stations, make sure you give us a like and follow on all those platforms too. Appreciate you. Now, Queen, the next one. This is a good one because your boy almost lost it. Keep fueling your body, hydrate and eat. And this is before and during, right? So we woke up the morning of the amazing half marathon and didn't have too much time to eat food before. So I had a nice little banana like right before.
Now knowing what we knew of people coming late, you did have time.
I did have plenty of time because everybody was 30 minutes late. But me being the person that shows up on time and prepared every time to everything, critical action, shout out to Play Black Wall Street. Yeah, we didn't have time. So I ate a banana right before, and a banana is like maybe 180 calories
Maybe.
tops. When you're running, you're burning 100, 200 calories per hour, right? So I'm running. And at some point around mile 9, we 2 hours in, 2.5 hours in. At some point, everything becomes very bright. And it's like darkness and then brightness towards the center. And my legs become very cinder blocky. On your marathon, right, in real life and in your business life, there needs to be checkpoints where you continue to put fuel into your body to help you keep going, right? You're not just going to run a half marathon or a marathon on an empty stomach. You need to fuel before, during, and best believe after,
Mhm.
for sure, to get your body back to full health. So Sinclair, in business, what does the fuel look like? What does recharging yourself as an entrepreneur? What does getting electrolytes and hydrating yourself look like as a business owner?
I feel like on a daily basis, that's getting good sleep. I
Mhm,
feel like there's this grind culture that's like, I'll sleep when I'm dead, and sleep is
mhm,
for suckers. Shout out
mhm.
to David Chance.
Shout out.
But yeah, I think that's not a sustainable model for entrepreneurs because again, your health and wellness usually directly affects the health of your business and how much money you're bringing in. So you got to be taking care of your body. So on a daily basis, I feel like it's getting sleep, getting good fuel, and focusing on health and wellness.
Pay attention to your body and take breaks
Uh-huh.
when you
Uh-huh.
need to. It's about finishing, not just starting, right? So my goal going into it, y'all, and I said this to Sinclair too. I was like, my goal, honestly, I just want to finish without stopping. And I had a time goal. My time goal was 3 hours and 15 minutes, and I wanted to finish without stopping. I said that multiple times to multiple people, and typically when I say something, I try my hardest, and I did try my hardest to achieve what I said I'm going to do. So again, I'm running. And I think the biggest momentum kill for me, Sinclair, was when I saw that mile 6 marker.
Mm.
Because in my head, this was right after the person with the sign that said, "Oh, after mile 8, don't trust the fart." So I was like, "Oh, clearly it must be mile 8."
Oh, they
They
stole it.
messed with my mental. I was like, it was mile 4. What are you doing with the mile 8 sign
Right.
right here, ma'am? Unhelpful,
Ma'am.
ma'am. Unhelpful. Anyway, I saw that sign in my head. I was thinking, okay, 8 miles, 5 more to go. I can do this. I can do this. I'm running. I'm feeling pretty good, right? Maybe I'll put a little bit of pep in my step at that point. And then a little bit later, an official marker comes up and it says, "It's only mile 6, player." I think it said that verbatim on the whole sign. It's only no, I'm just kidding. It's only mile 6, player. And immediately I'm like, I get drastically more tired. I'm like,
Mm.
I'm not even halfway yet. Oh my goodness, how am I going to do this? So I did that, right? I stopped a little bit after mile 9. I did some speed walking, still fast enough to be passing a few folks. Yeah, sucker, sucker, but not fast enough to also be passed by more people as well. But the key part here, again, especially since my calories were low, blood sugar was low, I was already like seeing real bright, heart really racing. I think if I would have tried to run, I would have pushed myself all the way to a limit that would have had me finish the race at all. Thank you for supporting the M4 show and our mission to increase the wealth of Black families.
If you received any value from this episode, any value at all,
Any.
do us a favor and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube and Apple, Spotify,
All
anything,
them.
all of them,
All them.
all of them. Wherever you're listening, go ahead and like and subscribe.
And after you like and subscribe, make sure you send this episode to at least one family that you really want to see win. We'll catch y'all next time.